Number 9. The CIA's most disturbing mind test. You've probably watched spy movies where secret agents whisper a code word and suddenly someone becomes a hypnotized assassin. Pure fiction, right? Not for the CIA in the 1950s. They actually tried making this sci-fi nightmare real. It was called MKUltra, a top-secret program to control human minds using drugs, hypnosis, and psychological torture. They didn't test these methods safely in labs. Instead, they secretly drugged ordinary people in bars, hotels, and even offices, then quietly watched the chaos unfold. Their ultimate goal was terrifying: create assassins who would kill on command and instantly forget everything. But the experiments failed spectacularly. Instead of perfect spies, victims ended up paranoid, terrified, and traumatized for life. In 1973, panicked CIA agents burned nearly all MKUltra files, desperately trying to hide their mistakes. Luckily, whistleblowers and investigators managed to reveal the truth anyway. Turns out controlling minds isn't just unethical, it's almost impossible. MKUltra proved reality is scarier than any spy thriller, especially when your own government is behind it. Number 8. The Army tried psychics. Imagine spying on an enemy base using only your brain. No gadgets, no satellites, just you sitting in a chair, eyes closed, trying to see across the world. Sounds like a superhero movie, right? Well, the US military thought it might be real. In the 1970s, they launched Project Stargate, a top-secret program to train psychic spies. These remote viewers were told to focus, relax, and describe places they'd never been. Their mission? Find enemy bunkers, missiles, even lost people, all through mental images. Sometimes they got close. A shape, a road, a weird drawing that vaguely matched a real building. But most of the time their guesses were off. Way off. The government kept hoping for magic, but got messy doodles and vague vibes instead. By 1995, the CIA reviewed the results and pulled the plug. Too many misses, not enough hits. Did it work? Nope. But for over 20 years, the US really tried to win wars with psychic powers. That's not science fiction. That's history. Number 7. Spy bird in the sky. In the 1960s, the CIA had a wild idea. What if they built a bird that was actually a spy? No feathers, no heartbeat. Just a drone shaped like a bird, flying over enemy bases without raising suspicion. That's Project Aquiline. It looked like a buzzard, had an 8-foot wingspan, and ran on a tiny chainsaw engine. Inside, cameras, microphones, and radiation detectors. The plan? Sneak over enemy land, gather secrets, and glide back unnoticed. At first, it almost worked. In early tests, Aquiline flew over 100 miles. Impressive for its time. But real-world problems showed up fast. Wind pushed it off course. The engine made noise. The battery drained quickly. By 1971, the project was shut down. Aquiline never flew a real mission, but it proved just how far the CIA would go during the Cold War, even trying to turn birds into robots. It didn't last long, but for a while, the sky nearly had a spy in disguise. Number 6. Nukes under the ice. In the 1960s, the US dreamed up something bold: hide hundreds of nuclear missiles under Greenland's ice. That was Project Iceworm, a secret plan to build a missile base beneath the Arctic, ready to strike at a moment's notice. They built Camp Century, a research station with a hidden mission. Under the snow, a city of tunnels powered by a nuclear reactor. It had bedrooms, labs, a kitchen, even a movie theater. But the goal wasn't science. It was stealth. Problem: ice moves. It shifts, flows, and crushes. The tunnels twisted. Walls cracked. The base began to collapse under nature's weight. To make it worse, Denmark, Greenland's governing country, was never told nukes were part of the deal. By 1967, Iceworm was abandoned. The reactor was removed. The tunnels were left to freeze and sink. No missiles launched. But it left behind a Cold War relic, proof that even superpowers can overreach. Somewhere beneath the ice, what's left of that frozen dream still drifts. Quiet, buried, and forgotten. Number 5. Sailors were test subjects. While the Cold War focused on nukes, the US quietly tested another kind of weapon: germs. From 1962 to 1973, the military ran Project 112 and its naval arm, SHAD. The goal: see how chemical and biological agents spread in real conditions. Tests happened on ships, islands, and open seas. Some used harmless simulants. Others didn't. Substances like VX nerve agent or bacteria that cause Q fever were released to study exposure and response. The test subjects? Often unknowing American sailors. Ships were sprayed, vents were contaminated, troops were observed. Then everything was buried. For decades, sick veterans got no answers. Records were sealed. Officials denied the tests happened. Some service members died before learning the truth. In the 2000s, the government finally admitted the program existed, but many files are still secret. Project 112 didn't create new weapons. It created anger, illness, and a deep sense of betrayal. Because the worst part wasn't just the exposure. It was being treated like they didn't matter. Number 4. Condoms as a weapon. The Cold War gave us nuclear standoffs, spy satellites, and one of the oddest ideas in CIA history. In the 1950s, U.S. operatives brainstormed a prank that hit below the belt, literally. They planned to drop giant condoms over Soviet territory, labeled size small. The goal? Make Soviet troops feel insecure. It wasn't sabotage, it was pure psychological warfare, with a sense of humor. But it didn't stop there. In another covert stunt, the CIA filmed a fake adult movie starring an actor who looked like a foreign leader. The idea was to cause embarrassment, maybe even political fallout. Neither plan led to revolution. The condoms didn't shake morale, the fake film never made headlines, and historians still debate if either prank was fully carried out. But they remind us, not all Cold War tactics were serious. Some were just strange. No guns, no gadgets, just latex, awkward film, and a bold attempt to weaponize humiliation. Because when bombs don't work, sometimes the CIA reaches for a joke. Number 3. The dog had a remote. Imagine a dog that doesn't just follow commands, it's guided by them, not with a leash or treats, but with signals sent straight into its brain. In the early 2000s, researchers implanted tiny electrodes into dogs' brains, targeting regions for movement and reward. With a wireless controller, they could make the dog turn, walk, even stop. When the dog obeyed, it got a jolt of pleasure directly in its brain. The result? A wagging, eager, remote-controlled pet. The goal wasn't evil. These dogs were trained for search and rescue in dangerous zones, guided from afar into rubble, tunnels, or warfields too risky for humans. But let's be honest, it feels eerie. Watching a living animal move like a robot raises big questions. Because dogs were only the beginning. We've already seen rats controlled through mazes, monkeys moving robotic arms, people typing with their minds. Brain-to-machine tech is real. It's growing fast. And when thoughts can be guided like leashes, who really holds the controller? What starts with dogs might end with us. Number 2. What really crashed at Roswell? Let's talk about the crash that started it all. Roswell, 1947. For decades, people claimed a UFO fell out of the sky. There were alien rumors, strange metal scraps, even talk of tiny green bodies. It launched generations of conspiracy theories. But the truth? No aliens, no flying saucer, just a top-secret balloon. Here's what actually happened. The U.S. military was running Project Mogul, an experimental program using high-altitude balloons to spy on Soviet nuclear tests. These weren't your average party balloons. They carried microphones, radar reflectors, and weird foil-like materials. When one crashed near Roswell, locals had no clue what they were looking at, and when the military first said flying disc, it lit the rumor fuse. The government later changed its story. Too late. The alien theory had already taken off. So no, Roswell wasn't an alien crash site. It was Cold War tech wrapped in confusion and secrecy. But maybe that's the real mystery, how one balloon created the world's most famous UFO myth. Number 1. You paid for UFOs. You've seen stealth bombers and spy drones, but those are just the ones they let you see. Every year, billions of dollars vanish into the U.S. military's black budget, funding secret programs with no public name, no official oversight, and no explanation. These aren't just next-gen weapons. They're borderline science fiction. Engineers talk about silent triangular aircraft that hover. Pilots report objects zipping across the sky with no wings or engines. Radar operators catch targets that appear, vanish, and reappear, moving in ways that defy physics. Some say it's alien tech. Others say it's just ours. Take the rumored Aurora, a hypersonic jet that could cross the Pacific in under 2 hours. No photos, no admission, just weird sonic booms and blinking lights. And then there's the voice of God, tech that beams sound directly into someone's head. A weapon? A test? The Pentagon won't say. So next time you see something strange in the sky, forget aliens for a second. That glowing triangle might be American. And yeah, you funded it. You watched Mind Control, Killer Birds, Psychic Soldiers, and still didn't hit like or subscribe? Bold of you, but not smart. Fix that, now.